This week's episode is brought to you by the brand new CommunicoreWeekly.com. Completely redesigned by Kevin Leggett, it's now easier to navigate, easier to find out what episode where we did what on, and much, much more. Check it out today at CommunicoreWeekly.com. And again, big thanks to Cadet Kevin for all his help.
Communicore Weekly. Come on and get geeky with 5 around boats and 5-legged goats. Communicore Weekly, you might get some freaking. You waited all week, I'm sure you already know this. Greatest online
Hello, and welcome to Communicore Weekly, the greatest online show and home of the world's first pair of independently born identical twins. I'm George.
And I'm Jeff. And I have an important question for you, George.
Yeah?
Do you happen to remember Impromptu United Kingdom Pavilion phone booth Disney trivia?
Yes, because it was such an awesome idea. And it just... We could never get the stupid phone booths to work right.
I know, and I'm actually surprised I can say that as quickly as I could when we first started it. In case you guys forgot it, I'm going to play the theme for you right now. Here we go.
Impromptu United Kingdom Pavilion phone booth Disney trivia. Impromptu United Kingdom Pavilion phone booth Disney trivia.
And if you still don't remember that, go back to like episode 66 or like 78. There's a few of them, but especially episode 57, around 12 minutes in, because that one is definitely one of our favorite ones of that segment. But like George just said, unfortunately, the UK phone booths no longer accept calls.
And we're not taking total blame for that.
We're not going to take total blame. We will take most of the blame.
But not total blame.
But... we also tried calling other payphones at Disney theme parks and called it Impromptu Random Disney Theme Park Payphone Disney Trivia. It was something I don't remember. The guys even made a new jingle for it, which we will play right now.
Impromptu Random Disney Theme Park Payphone Disney Trivia. Impromptu Random Disney Theme Park Payphone Disney Trivia.
Still a good theme. Unfortunately,
Yes.
we never got to use it because apparently nobody as a Disney theme park wants to answer payphone unless it's in a red phone box. So that's unfortunate.
Oh, yes, that is.
But we love this segment, and anytime we played it, we always got a lot of great emails and comments from people about it. So we wanted to bring it back in some way, so we came up with a new idea. We're going to bring it back, but now we're going to call you directly, the listeners, the cadets at home.
Oh, good, because I was looking at my phone going, what?
Well, I'm already talking to you, so I don't have to call you again. I mean, I couldn't ask you trivia questions, but...
It could. I mean, with the swan boat, time boat technology, yes.
That's true. I could be asking both of us questions with time travel.
Ooh, that'd be weird.
But
would you recognize your own voice?
I probably would, actually.
Yeah.
I hope.
Okay.
Question
Okay.
mark? Anyway,
Wait, what?
if you want us to call you, we'd be happy to, and we'll ask you trivia questions. But make sure you can be available Tuesday evenings around like 8:30 Eastern time, 5:30 Pacific time, because that's the time we usually record the show. If you're around during that time, send us an email at communicoreweekly@gmail.com with your name and your phone number. And who knows, maybe in the next couple of weeks, we'll be calling you guys, and we'll continue to play this game because I love that segment so much. And I just want to be able to say something quickly again. I don't know what the new segment's going to be called. It's going to be a surprise when the Communicore Weekly Orchestra makes a new theme song for it. But I'm excited. Are you excited?
Oh, totally, because it's always a fantastic segment, especially when we have to decide on what trivia questions to ask people.
Yes,
so.
exactly. Also, heads up, George and I were just discussing before we started recording, the Hunters, we're definitely going to call you at 3 o'clock in the morning and ask you trivia questions. Everybody else, you're fine.
Wait. 3 o'clock in the morning here is 6?
Yeah, so you'll be awake. It'll be like you're getting up for work.
Yeah, it'd be like I'm getting up ready for work. So yeah, that won't be a problem. Yeah, we can do that. That's
Fair
good.
enough.
That's good.
Fair enough. Pick up the banana phone. Let's go to the history segment.
Make sure you drink your banana milkshakes with protein powder in them. So.
It's time for Disney History.
Test Track is one of the most popular attractions at Epcot at Walt Disney World. And not just because it's one of the very few attractions that's left in the park. Zing!
Sorry, that was my Munson.
So this high-speed thrill ride takes you into a world of testing vehicles before they are sold to the general public, but now in this futuristic Tron-like setting. When it first opened, though, it was more along the lines of a regular testing facility, but the history of the attraction is a long, winding road, just like a few that you'd find in the attraction itself.
Yeah, nice. So before Test Track, there was World of Motion, one of the amazing original Epcot Center, and that's Epcot in all capital letters, one of the original Epcot Center attractions. It opened on October 1st, 1982, opening day, and was a fantastic and a whimsical look at the history and achievements in transportation, showing scenes from the invention of the wheel right up to the present day and beyond. However, as much fun as it was, it just wasn't hitting a chord with the audiences in the early 1990s.
Now, around that same time, General Motors, the sponsor of the attraction, and the economy overall were really hitting this slump. You know, they had dwindling car sales, and GM can only afford to sign one-year contracts with Disney to sponsor the attraction. So, however, GM executives lobbied the idea to close World of Motion and completely change it into a thrill ride that focused specifically around their automobiles and not the history of transportation in general, kind of as a way to boost sales.
Yeah, the World of Motion closed on January 2nd, 1996, and as soon as the doors were closed, everything inside the building was removed. Now, in 1976, Disney Imagineers had visited the Milford Proving Ground, owned by General Motors, to start work on World of Motion. Now, years later, they were making a second trip to the facility and work with GM to create Test Track.
Now, in the new ride, guests would be put through the tests that a crash test dummy would normally go through, allowing them to really see what went into making of a vehicle before it was sold to the general public. A new track was constructed outside the building, which is used as the high-speed test for Test Track, and then work inside the building also continued at the same time.
Now, as early as 1994, before the World of Motion was even dead, let alone in its coffin, Disney was promoting this new attractions to guests as, quote, a ride that would put tourists behind the wheel on a GM Test Track, end quote. By 1996, an article in the Orlando Sentinel had a quote from Al Weiss, Executive Vice President and head of Walt Disney World, that said, quote, when you come back to this pavilion next spring, you're gonna be wowed. These are the most advanced ride vehicles ever developed, end quote.
That's right, in 1996 he said, next spring. The entire transformation of the attraction was supposed to take place in a 19-month period, with the ride opening in 1997. However, it was delayed by nearly 2 years due to a number of problems coming up over time. One of the problems that the Imagineers had to overcome was that the wheels used on the ride vehicles could not stand up to the demand of the ride course and the speed itself. They kept, breaking.
So this problem was resolved, but a second, more severe problem caused the ride to be delayed by over a year. And in theme park years, that's like 10. I think like dog years.
What's that in dog years?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay.
Anyway, in order for Test Track to run with the highest hourly capacity possible, 29 ride vehicles would be needed. The ride programming system could only handle operating a maximum of 6 cars over the layout of the ride. One by one, programmers were able to get the computer system able to run 29 ride vehicles all at once.
Also, the exterior track was supposed to be able to hit 95 miles per hour, but due to Florida's speed limit being 65, and the steep banking of the corners, the top speed was lowered, causing much more testing to occur. Just let that sink in for a second.
I can just see the Orange County or us, just with the radar gun.
Just hanging out.
Just hanging
excuse me,
out.
sir. That car also. Just handing out tickets to every car.
Yes.
There also would have been a section where the car's tires would lose traction, but this ate the tires up even more and had to be removed, causing new construction and more delays.
And after these problems were resolved, years later, Test Track soft opened to the public on December 19th, 1998. The ride was still prone to breakdowns and didn't officially open until March 17th, 1999. Despite all the delays, when it did officially open, it was a huge success. Lines were crazy and the crowds kept coming in.
Now, flash forward to 10 years later in 2009, and GM was struggling once again. It was also at this time that their sponsorship with Epcot was ending again, and they really didn't know what to do. The company itself, GM, was saved only by this complicated plan that involved a controversial federal loan and a month-long Chapter 11 reorganization and a lot of criticism.
So once they got back on their feet again, as part of their massive rebranding and advertising of their new image, GM decided they need to update Test Track in order to keep up with the times. Despite the fact that millions of people each year rode Test Track, it was looking a bit outdated. Their showroom at the end of the attraction wasn't as sleek as it could have been, and many of the features of the ride, such as anti-lock brakes, weren't as cutting edge as they were in 1999.
So, in January 2012, Disney announced plans to renovate the attraction, and by April 2012, Test Track closed for its massive overhaul. Sponsorship shifted from General Motors overall to General Motors Chevrolet division, and the attraction focused on the vehicles produced, very specifically under the Chevy brand.
New additions to the attraction included a pre-show area where guests design a new car for testing in the Chevrolet Design Center, then board one of Test Track's existing 6-passenger ride vehicles, known as Sim Cars, to see how their design fares on the center's driving course. The Sim Cars are the same vehicles from the original incarnation of the ride, but with a new skin to look newer.
And even though the entire track layout is the same, the entire thing was overhauled to give it a more futuristic feel. The guests designed now, the cars that they designed, they undergo 4 different tests now: capability, efficiency, responsiveness, and power. And in the capability test, the first car, it connects to the OnStar system, and then it accelerates past a rain snow projection and skids out of control. Next, it continues up a path and disappears, and the sim car turns around to speed up again. And after that, the sim car makes a sharp left turn as a lightning bolt strikes. The car then passes a futuristic city, which some say kind of looks like Center Core, the finale from World of Motion.
Following the capability test, the results of which car design scored the best in the test are displayed. The sim car then begins the efficiency test. In the first part, the sim cars are scanned for optimum eco-efficiency. The second test performs an aerodynamic test on the vehicle. Finally, a hyperspectrum imaging takes place. Again, after the test is completed, the best scores are displayed.
The third test is responsiveness. Then the sim car accelerates around hairpin turns with laser projected trees. It then enters a tunnel to encounter the 18-wheeler from the original version, though it is now only shown with lasers. And when the vehicle exits the tunnel, the results for the responsive test are also displayed, and all of the test icons are displayed.
And the final test is power, where the sim car stops for a moment, then accelerates through flashing purple arches to a wall with the ride's logo on it, leading to the outside portion of the ride. As the sim car speed is increased, it makes a right turn, followed by a wide left, a straight section, and one final long left turn.
Now, when the test is complete, the vehicle returns to the loading station, and the experience now concludes in a renovated showroom featuring current and future Chevrolet products, along with places to play games and make commercials with the car you designed, your designed sim car earlier in the exhibit, in the Chevrolet showroom.
Now, the refurbished attraction first opened to guests during a soft opening on December 3rd, 2012. The ride officially reopened on December 6th, 2012, after receiving its rebrand.
I still have not been on the new Test Track.
But you've been on something better than the new Test Track.
What's that?
The Radiator Springs Racers.
Oh, that's a fair point. I have been on that. It's amazing to me to think that I haven't been back to Walt Disney World since before the new Test Track opened. We were there in November 2012. That was the last time I was there.
Yeah, that's true. It was right before it opened.
That's
wow.
insane.
We need to get you back down there.
We do. We definitely
do something. But I need to get back out to California.
That's a fair point.
And
you do.
We both need to get to Disneyland Paris and Hong Kong Disneyland. And well,
Tokyo
anyways,
Disney Sea.
Yeah. So we need to see all that. But that's for an Indiegogo campaign much later. Just kidding, guys. Just kidding.
Or are we?
Unless, yes, are we? So we want to know what you think about Test Track, or weigh in on your decision of Test Track versus Radiator Springs Racers. We'd love to know what you think. Call us on the Communicore Weekly GOAT line at 424-785-GOAT. That's 424-785-4628.
He's a nerd, he's a geek, cause we all like to hear him speak. So listen up to the words from his speech. It's George's Book of the Week.
Okay, so we've looked at two other Star Wars novels over the past few months that have really blown us away. Tarkin impressed both of us on the strength of the story and the characters that they presented, while Heir to the Jedi surprised both of us with the intimate first-person narrative of Luke Skywalker. It was kind of strange for a Star Wars book. Both books got us really excited for the new film and the number of books coming out over the next few months. So, does the new book, Star Wars Lords of the Sith, by Paul S. Kemp, stand up to the two other books?
Spoiler? Much like the other books we just talked about, George just said, Lords of the Sith, it focused intently on characters we know well, but on times of their lives we don't know a lot about. This book takes place during the very early days of the rebellion and shows us how a small splinter cell almost succeeded in taking out Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine, and more importantly, how the Vader-Palpatine dynamic really works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's a rebellion on the planet of Ryloth, which is where the Twi'leks come from. I've heard Twi'leks and Twi'leks. I like Twi'leks.
I like Twi'leks.
And it's related to the importance of spice production that apparently has made Ryloth a prime target for the Empire. They're occupying the planet. We meet Cham Syndulla, I'm assuming that's right, and Isval, who were leaders of the Rylothian rebellion. And Kemp sort of takes us into Cham's inner circle to see how he plans to wipe out the Emperor and Darth Vader with one attack. I'm interested.
I mean, that alone sold me on the book. I was curious about that.
But still, as Jeff mentioned, the book really does focus on Emperor Palpatine and Darth Vader, especially at a time when no one really knows what Vader is capable of or who he is.
Yeah, he's still a mystery, wrapped in an enigma, wrapped in a riddle.
Wrapped in a black cloak.
Sure, that counts. That works.
All right.
As a kind of small little side note, it's kind of great to see how all these things are being interconnected, all the extra media. There's an offhand comment that, how do you say his name? Cham? Okay.
Yeah.
Cham has a daughter, apparently. It's mentioned in the book. And then later, we learned that the daughter's name is Hera, which, of course, we know because Cham is a Twi'lek. We know that his daughter will grow up to be one of the lead characters on the TV show Rebels. And to me, that's kind of awesome. I mean, how this is all slowly interconnected. It's not in your face, but it's very subtle.
Yeah.
So anyway, yes, Vader's power is not really known, and neither is the Emperor's for that matter. Even their partnership, and I use that word very loosely, isn't fully known at this point. And we can kind of see one of them testing the other one and vice versa in various situations and seeing how far the other will go and what their limits are.
Yeah, there's a lot of political intrigue and drama in the book. And most of the story is told from the point of view of either Vader, Cham, the Imperial officer Belcor, or Moff Mors. That sounds so funny saying it out loud.
Moff Mors?
Reads well, but sounds funny.
Yes.
And it's a very intense storyline. And, Kemp does a really excellent job of describing the action, which is hard to do in fiction, to describe battles and things like that, even space battles or lightsaber battles. He keeps the storylines succinct and compact. And, what's really good is he keeps them separate because he is talking about 4 or 5 different storylines going on. Since the book takes place so closely after Revenge of the Sith, it's eye-opening to see the relationship between Vader and Palpatine. I mean, even after the events of Revenge of the Sith, it's still not obvious where Vader's allegiance lies, nor the extent of his true powers.
And even, the Emperor's abilities are still a mystery to everyone as well. And, because of that, witnesses to his power, or rather, those that can't be trusted, meaning most people that he meets, they need to be eliminated so they don't reveal his secrets. But like George said, Vader is still a mystery to many people, and when he uses his power, it often catches others, mostly the rebels, by surprise, because they really have no frame of reference for the dark side of the Force at this point. So, seeing him in action and killing an entire squadron of people just kind of further fuels all the rumors and mysteries swirling around him.
That could be a new segment.
Yeah.
Vader rumors.
Vader rumors.
We'll just come up with some Vader rumors. Well, just like Tarkin, the book Tarkin, it was a really odd sensation to read about Palpatine and Vader and be rooting for them. It's kind of odd. Not that you were really rooting for them, but just that you got to see their situations and understand what they were going through a little bit. Well, at least Vader. You did. It was weird, to read about them in a very dangerous situation, where they could be killed, but then that they're going to be alive to make other movies. So yeah, I guess it was just getting around to how are they going to get out of these pretty dire situations, like figuring out how did Sherlock fake his death.
Makes
that
sense.
sort of thing.
Makes sense.
Yeah, he can't die.
Like there was any doubt whatsoever, Vader and Palpatine are cunning and they're formidable foes. And despite, all these things that are being thrown at them in the book, they survive, obviously, because they have to make some movies. But like George said, it's interesting to see the plans that they make to get out of the situation. And it's no wonder that Palpatine was really able to gain control of the Senate and form the Empire, because it shows very clearly here how manipulative and smart he is. And Kemp does an excellent job of really digging deeper into the characters we know and love, loathe, whatever.
Yeah, it's one of those words. But suffice it to say, I think Star Wars fans are really going to enjoy this addition to the new official canon that we've got since Iger threw everything out the window. Basically, I really enjoyed Kemp's style and appreciated the fact that I found myself looking up a few words while reading the book. Kemp's
like
style is very
and
like what?
A and those words, right?
It's got more than 3 letters. What am I gonna do? But his style is still very down to earth. But he knows how to use words and use the appropriate words when needed, unlike Jeff and myself.
Tough but fair.
Words. Yeah. So Kemp is a very impressive writer, and I can't wait to see him delve deeper into this new Star Wars universe.
I'm kind of bummed that his other Star Wars novels are no longer canon, because they were good. But this Lords of the Sith was a great way for Kemp to kind of blaze a trail in a new official canon. And like George, I'm really excited to see what they let him do next. I really thought Lords of the Sith was great. It was wonderful, and I think we highly recommend it.
Yeah. So this week's book is Star Wars Lords of the Sith by Paul S. Kemp.
You don't know what you know till we know you. You just don't know. Here's one little fact we bet you didn't. One little fact we bet you didn't know.
Since we got that Swambo time machine technology working, I was wondering if we should take advantage of that special invitation we had to the splash party for the opening of River Country.
Tell me more.
Yeah, well, the party's going to be held Saturday, May 29th through Thursday, June 3rd, 1976.
That's a long party, dude.
It is, but it's River Country. That's when Disney did things right. I know we need to get our budget prepared, so they're offering the grub steak for 50 cents, which is a cheeseburger with strips of bacon, dressing, tomato, lettuce, and pickles. So I can do that. The Wrangler is 35 cents. It's just a cheeseburger with dressing, tomato, lettuce, and pickles. So I guess the bacon.
The bacon is the big draw
cents.
on that other burger there.
Yeah. And then the next one is called the Prospector, which is a hamburger. So the cheese obviously costs 5 cents.
Okay, I'm getting a hang on this budget thing now.
Exactly.
Cost of living.
So then, but they also offer the Lumberjack, which was 45 cents, and that was a quarter-pound hot dog.
Oh, whoa.
Where I can really, we do that. And then the Cowpoke was a regular hot dog, and they sold that for 35 cents. But
Just a regular size hot dog?
Just a regular hot dog. That's what it says.
I'm curious to know how much a regular size hot dog weighs.
Obviously not a quarter pound.
Clearly not.
Maybe half of that, I'm not sure. But there were other things like they are going to sell beer for 50 cents and kosher dill pickles for 15 cents.
This is insane. I need to
those
get
are
in on
insane
this.
prices. So,
we can
I
live
think
like kings, George.
Yes, we can, because we can tell them exactly what's going to happen.
Well, I was just thinking because the food's really cheap. I wasn't thinking anything else.
Gray Sports Almanac, right?
I already have one of those. It's just outdated. It ended this year.
Good. Oh, crap. Well, if we go back to 1976.
Oh, fair point. We can do that.
Yeah, we can do that. So, great. And now we can go back and tell everybody, now we know you.
Sometimes you might see it, sometimes you don't. Hey, look, what's that? It's a five-legged goat.
While you're testing all the curves on your car and Test Track, you'll come across some nice tributes to World of Motion and the original version of Test Track. But for this five-legged goat, we're going to talk about one that harkens back to the original version of Test Track. When you're on the performance track, there are some signs that call out Motion Drive, General Motorway, and Chevy Lane. And these are all tributes to 3 experiences that used to reside in the building before everything else was updated to the new Tron-like test track.
Now, wasn't Chevy Lane, wasn't that Clark Kent's girlfriend?
No. It was a song. Chevy Lane is in my... That one?
How long have we gone without singing?
I don't know. An episode.
But you couldn't resist that one.
No, I couldn't.
Wow.
That was too easy. Too
Not
easy.
at all. That's okay. Well, something else that we can't resist is giving out more prizes. Yay!
Are you saying we can't resist it because we're contractually obligated to finish it throughout the year?
I guess.
Okay, fair enough.
Maybe.
We can't resist giving away prizes.
In our year of 1 million or so limited time cadets, if you remember, we're giving out a weekly prize every week, which makes it a weekly prize.
Way to go, George.
Yeah. All we ask is that you email, if you want to be part of the prize drawing every week, email communicoreweekly@gmail.com with your name, your address, obviously, so we can mail your prize out to you, as well as your birthday, because we're also giving out some special birthday treats every month. Well, they're not treats. You can't eat it.
Well, I mean, you could.
You could, but if you're missing your fiber quotient. Anyway, sorry, we're getting off like we ever get off topic about anything. This week is a special Dollywood prize pack from me. Yay! Because when we were there, we picked up some things. A giant box of Dollywood saltwater taffy. Sorry, brain stopped on me.
I was like, did you forget what it was? Are you looking right at it and you can't even see what it is?
No, I was looking at one of the other prizes. So a giant box of Dollywood taffy, a Dollywood pen. I'm excited about that. A Dollywood mug. Unfortunately, the coffee mug didn't have a name on it because I didn't know what the cadet's name would be that would win the prize. But I did pick up a mug, and I'm picking up right now, from Ripley's Aquarium of the Smokies. And it actually says they didn't have my name on the mug. So that way it was perfect. I didn't have the cadet's name, so I got this mug. So that's 2 mugs, a pen, and a box of taffy from Dollywood. I'm so excited. And
Yummy.
This week's prize is Kevin W. from Orlando, Florida.
Hooray!
Yay. And don't forget, you can still enter the prize giveaway as well. Just email us, communicoreweekly@gmail.com. Wow. I guess after that, we should end the show.
We probably should now.
Before we get into too much trouble. But thank you guys so much for watching and listening to another episode of Communicore Weekly.
Please, however you listen to the show, whether it's on YouTube or iTunes or just hanging out with your friends, be sure to leave us a comment and rate us on iTunes.
Yes, as we've mentioned a couple times, email communicoreweekly@gmail.com, not only to enter the contest, but to give us your cell phone number or telephone number so we can call you for the trivia.
Yes, please.
Yay.
And of course, like us on the Facebook at facebook.com/Communicore Weekly.
Yep, you can follow both of our shenanigans on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Imaginerding. He's at Jeff Heimbuck.
And of course, give us a call on the Communicore Weekly Goat line at 424-785-4628.
And don't forget to visit Communicore Weekly and go to the Communistore on our site to buy cool stuff, or just you can get your shirts at communicoreweekly.spreadshirt.com.
And of course, if you want to get your official cadet membership card and stickers, send a self-addressed stamped envelope to Communicore Weekly, P.O. Box 432, Orange, California, 92856, and I will get that right out to you immediately.
And visit patreon.com/Communicore Weekly and help support the greatest online show. For Jeff Heimbuck, I'm George Taylor.
And for George Taylor, I'm Jeff Heimbuck. Thanks so much for listening, guys and gals. We'll see you next time on Communicore Weekly, the greatest online show.
Buffalo Suitcase.